philosophy that drives you?
Oh, every musical situation is different. So, for instance, a classic album Sunday session, it might be very intense. It might be very melancholic. If you're doing Pink Floyd, Wish You Were Here, I've had people break down in tears. So that's a different expression.
One of your classic albums.
There you go. I broke down in tears to some of my classic album Sunday sessions too, especially when it's Joni Mitchell, Little Green. I'm like, oh my gosh, I just always cry. So music can make us. Music can not control, but it can drive our emotions in so many different ways. So, for instance, a festival, I don't want to make people cry, right? I want to uplift people. I want people to have a good time. On the radio, it's a different thing. I don't need to make people dance. And it depends on what time of day it is. So if it's the morning, I might start out more mellow. If it's a Friday night, you're not going to be playing ambient music. You're going to be playing more uplifting music. So every situation has a context. So every musical journey will be dictated by that context and what you're trying to achieve. So I want people to feel emotion. Now that emotion can be uplifting, it can be melancholic, it can be reflective, it can be transcendental. But I also, on the other side of things, especially with the radio shows and with Classic Album Sundays, is I also like to educate people about the stories behind music and how it all comes together. I don't necessarily do that in the club dance floor, like, okay, everybody, let me just tell you about the producer on this one. Yeah, exactly. It's not like, so it's a different thing. A club thing is to make people dance. And of course, also to champion new records as well. I mean, every DJ loves to champion new records, unless you only play old stuff.
So obviously, David Mancuso is not with us anymore. So we all need a guru, someone to look up to. So have you got that in your life now? Like,
no, and David wasn't a guru to me either.
Or maybe a inspiration?
No, I don't believe in that. I don't really believe in. I think David felt very uncomfortable with people thinking he was a guru, and he was a person who was extraordinary, and he did things that other people hadn't thought of doing because he was a visionary. But he was human, he had flaws like we all do, and I don't believe in the whole guru thing.
Do you know what? Neither do I. I don't know why I said that.
Yeah. It's sad because I've had some people kind of come up to me recently, and
I've never used
I've really kind of, it's like, I don't want to give off those airs. Yeah.
Is there anyone in your life now, or any aspiring artists or DJs or selectors that you're feeling inspired by?
I mean, I'm inspired by, everybody. I don't want to name names because then it's like, then I forgot a name.
Yeah.
I have another mentor, Francois K is another mentor of mine. He's someone I'll ask advice to. He's someone who I respect, who I know personally, who I have a long, deep relationship with. Who David also had a relationship with as well.
In terms of equipment, obviously, what's your sort of favourite setup at home, at festivals?
Well, I do like a great vinyl setup, that's for sure, and proper stereo, and something that has dynamic. And, there's no right way to do a sound system in terms of when you get to the high end, as people are saying, my system's best, and I don't believe in that either. I think it is quite subjective once you get to a certain point. So what you don't want is, you don't want distortion. You want to have dynamic. You want to have a beautiful EQ where you have beautiful highs and a nice warm bass, and beautiful mids, and it all represented kind of balanced. And where the music sings, and sadly some sound systems sound like there's like a duvet thrown over the top of them. I like a kind of a crystalline kind of audio experience, whether it's at home or at a club or at our loft parties.
So what are you listening to right now? I know that's really hard. Like, you don't want to say this and not that.
Oh, that's okay. No, I don't mind championing. I don't mind that.
What are you listening to, like, this weekend? Or
one label I've just been so into recently is Gondwana Records, Matthew Halsell's label in Manchester, and everything he puts out is great. Whether it's folk music of Keelan Rose, or he has a new album coming out. Chip Wickham has a new album coming out. I've been listening to that. I've been listening to Matthew's, the singles and the lead up to the album. I think it's Hania Rani. I think is one of the pianists, the Polish pianist on their label. I just love that label and just everything they put out, because Matthew's a musician. He has an amazing ear, and he's great at championing other artists, and he's also keeps his ego out of it. So the music just sings. It's amazing. So that's a label I'm listening to a lot.
So tell us about your latest remix.
I have quite a few remixes out at the moment. So I have the Jacob Gurisvich Elevation in Minor, which is one of the most Balearic things I've done, really. It has Spanish guitar in it, so it actually is quite Balearic. But he's a beautiful guitarist, and I was really happy because I wanted a middle 8 section with the key change, which wasn't in the original, and he went and did it for me. And I had a live percussionist as well, so that was really nice. I have another one coming out on the 8th of September, a remix I did for Izo Fitzroy. She's an amazing singer-songwriter with a proper gospel-y voice, real soulful voice, and I just remixed one of her songs, and she re-sang it for me actually, because we wanted to do more of a gospel house kind of feel, and it was too down-tempo, the original.